the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
All right, we're back, and thank you for sticking with me for another episode of DD30, the sports talk show on the DaDirty Network. Again, it's your host, Rags. And before I get started with the great topics that I got for you guys, I have a bunch of fun things to talk about in all sports. Of course, I want to make sure to remind you guys to make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, all of my social media that I'll be adding right here in the intro. Make sure you find me. Make sure you comment. Make sure you let me know that you want to be on a new show. That's the way I'm going to communicate with my fans. That's where I'm going to put all of my content. So that's where you'll be able to find some of my short clips. On top of that, you'll be able to see some of my gaming content. I'm really trying to build this network out and have fun with it. So again, make sure you follow all of my social media links. All right, it's probably going to be over here. All of my social media stuff. All right, so you could be a part of the team and a part of the family. It does me great help if you guys share everything that I put out there, share my reels, comment on my reels, like them, whatever the case may be. Tell me I suck, tell me I need to do better. Anything helps. You know, I love criticism. I love getting better at what I'm doing. I'm practicing different editing tools, different logos, things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun moving forward. With that being said, I do have an amazing topic to go over with you guys. Of course, we're going to go over some baseball, and it wouldn't be right if I didn't talk about Gary Sheffield and the Hall of Fame ballot that did just pass last week. So I'm going to spend some time talking about that in the dirt. Also, when it comes to football, we're going to react to some of the playoff games that had just passed, what to look for when it comes to Super Bowls. Again, Patrick Mahomes, is he the greatest of all time? That's a lot of conversations going around about that. Has he passed Tom Brady, or does he need to win another Super Bowl, etc.? Is the Chiefs a dynasty? All these questions need to be answered. And of course, we're going to round it off with basketball. There was the All-Star starters that were selected over the past week. Who was snubbed? Who do we look forward to seeing in the All-Star game? Also, they're adding something new to the three-point contest as well. So that'll be fun to talk about. Again, it's your boy Rags. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. Again, make sure you follow all of my social medias. That's IG, that's TikTok, that's Facebook, that's everything. YouTube, all of that stuff, and be a part of the team. All right? We'll be right back after this. Are you not subscribed yet?
Hey, I'm doing it now.
All right. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and I hope you subscribed and did everything that you were supposed to do to be a part of the network. Now, I have an amazing topic on the dirt, and I've been waiting to have this conversation on my YouTube page, so here it comes. It is the Baseball Hall of Fame, and the results are in. They announced the new inductees for 2024 on MLB Network. I will add that information here. But long story short, they did add 3 new inductees to the Hall of Fame: Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, and Joe Mauer. All right. So guys falling short consist of Billy Wagner, Andrew Jones, and Gary Sheffield, just to say a few. All right. Now, of course, I said last episode that if Gary Sheffield did not make the list, I would be ranting and letting you guys know. But honestly, I said I wasn't going to rant, and every time I look at my video, it looked like I already did rant. So basically, I'm just going to say how it is. Gary Sheffield, he's a Hall of Famer. He deserves to be in there. The reason why they don't put him in is because allegedly he had a run-in with Barry Bonds and some cream, and he said he used it one time, etc., but he never tested positive. He never had a long history of having steroids or people talking about him using steroids, etc. All right. Now, that being said, now the Hall of Fame, my issue with it is they always like to change. All right, well, this is the standard, right? You need to hit X, Y, and Z mark to become a Hall of Famer. Until you hit that mark, then it's, oh, well, is he a good person? Or, oh, well, was he in the Mitchell report? Or do we just suspiciously think that he's been using steroids or been cheating the game without having any factual information, just word of mouth. Again, as an African-American baseball fan, a legitimate baseball fan, I think it's a sad day. I've been saying for a long time that the MLB Hall of Fame is probably the worst Hall of Fame out of all of the sports. It's one of the only Hall of Fames that do not have their best players in it, like Pete Rose, like Barry Bonds, like just to name a few. Again, it's obvious that the system is messed up when it comes to voting because there's more players voted into the Hall of Fame after they're removed from the 10-year ballot. There's a veterans committee that actually has a chance to put players in because, they didn't make it in their initial try. There's so many issues that I have with this, all right? And I'm going to start with number one. Guys who are basically given the privilege to vote on players, guys need to be reevaluated. I think people need to be held accountable for their ballots, right? And this is what I mean by that. There's a lot of conversations when it comes to guys that are at the bottom of their ballots receiving 5% of the vote just to stay on the ballot, right? So you have guys like good guys, David Ortiz, Chase Utley's, the Jimmy Rollins of the world, etc. Guys who were really good, Bobby Abreu, guys that were really good, but not, considered Hall of Famers, right? When it's all said and done. Now, my issue with that is that if you have the privilege, if you are somebody who is voting on the Hall of Fame, basically they're saying you are a credible person, right? You have credibility. You've watched the game. You know what the game is about. Somebody like me, I have credibility too, if you ask me, because I watch the games with the same two pair of eyes. It's not like if I watch the game and a reporter watches the same game that they see the game in a different lens. I played baseball for a long time. I appreciate the game. I can watch a game and I can tell you who's good and who's not, right? I can tell you who's having a bad day and who's really, just, hey, maybe they're just not that good, right? So my issue is we give people the opportunity to vote a person in the Hall of Fame. So why do we let them off the hook when they're voting for guys who do not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, right? Again, I don't want to pick on people, and honestly, who cares? It's not like they care about what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, if you're voting for David Wright as a Hall of Famer, you are not doing your job. That's what I call it. You're not picking the right guys for the team. On top of that, Billy Wagner misses the Hall of Fame by 4 votes. Well, you know why? Because 5% of the people think that it's okay to add X, Y, and Z player just to make sure that they're still on the ballot. That number one is wrong. They need to stop that. People who do that, they should be ashamed. You're cheating the game. Nope. It's not about who deserves to be on the ballot long. You get a vote if you are a Hall of Fame player. And if you believe David Wright's a Hall of Fame player, then you need to stick by that, and you need to give us good reasons. But again, if we look back and we see these ballots and we see guys are voting for guys like David Wright, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, but they're not voting for Gary Sheffield, that's a problem to me. That's a big problem. All right. So, and then another thing on top of that. So Adrian Beltre, he only received 95%. Well, I shouldn't say only. He received 95% of the votes, right? Here's another one of my issues. I know we had one instant where somebody made it in unanimously, and that was Mariano Rivera, the closer for the New York Yankees, who has the all-time save record. Get it? Now, the fact of the matter that people are getting away with not voting for guaranteed Hall of Fame players, I feel like they should be held accountable for that as well. So what do I mean? I mean, if you're that person who's dumb enough not to vote for Ken Griffey Jr. and say that he's not a Hall of Famer, you shouldn't have the right to vote. Because if you're not voting for him as a Hall of Famer, what are you doing? That is your one job, is to vote guys that are Hall of Famers, right? I mean, am I wrong about that? So for the fact of the matter that people can publicly come out here and say, well, I didn't vote for Ken Griffey Jr. Because I know he's going to get enough votes from other people. You're not doing your job. You're not. That right there, again, that pisses me off the most, because you're not being held accountable for your job. All right, that's like me saying I'm going to take a test. Well, I know the answer to this test, but I don't want to get 100 on my test. I'm going to miss one on purpose. Like, you get held accountable for that. You don't get the 100% grade, right? So I was saying, the fact of the matter that we've had years and years and years of the MLB Hall of Fame being done incorrectly is very frustrating to a fan. Because like I said, I've watched Gary Sheffield. Gary Sheffield was impactful in my community. He is a Hall of Fame player. He hit over 500 home runs. He played over 20 seasons. He's been a batting champ. He's won a World Series. Like, what else do you want the man to do? You guys accused him for using steroids, but he's never failed a test. Guys have been accused like David Ortiz, and he had never failed a test, but he made it in the first ballot. So again, the guys, they pick and choose who they want to make these exceptions for. And that's what bothers me. It's not consistent. It doesn't get the best players in. The system is broke. At the end of the day, you fix it by looking at everybody's ballot and saying, hey, why did you vote for Chase Utley over Gary Sheffield? Why did you vote for, why did you vote for Todd Hilton and Joe Mauer, but you didn't vote for Jorge Posada? Right? Like, what makes you make those determinations? Because I believe the fans deserve to know. And on top of that, the people who aren't getting in the Hall of Fame deserve to know as well. Because when you pull it back, a lot of it is based off of, oh, I like the guy. He was cool to me when we were interviewing him. Or two, I don't like the guy and I'm not voting for him. Those people need to be gone. They don't need to be voting. You either A, vote for a guy because you believe he's a Hall of Famer, or two, you don't vote for a guy because he's not. Not in between, feelings were hurt. Oh, I think myself think that he's going to just get enough votes anyway, so I don't need to vote for him. Your job is to vote for God doggone. I'm sorry, I'm trying to. Your job is to vote for the damn Hall of Famers. So vote for the Hall of Famers and not stop making all these damn excuses on what you can do and what happened and why you don't vote for them. I want to know those people. We got to hold those people accountable. All right. So again, I'm not here to bash the guys who made it because they deserve it. Now, Joe Mauer, I think, honestly, if you ask me, I've watched a lot of baseball during that time period. Nothing really said to me that Joe Mauer was a Hall of Famer during that time. Now, is he a great Twins player, all-time great Twins player? Absolutely. He should be retired in the Twins Hall of Fame. Nothing to him is Hall of Fame catcher to me. I'm sorry. All right? Not even defensively. Like, you look at his number and Yadier Molina's numbers, they're similar. Yadi didn't win any batting titles or anything like that, but his WAR is going to stack up because he was such a great defender. Again, I'll say we could go back and forth about that. Joe Mauer, he made it. All right? So there's no taking that away from him. But the fact that a guy he can have 200 home runs, reached around 2,000 hits, maybe played. They're putting him in as a catcher, but he probably played catcher at his prime, probably 6-7 years. But yet we can't get Gary Sheffield in, who hit over 500 home runs. I think that's goddamn it ridiculous. And I'm gonna just say that. So that's my topic on the Dirt Hall of Fame ballot. Who do you think got stuff from the Hall of Fame? Do you think Todd Helton did you think Joe Mauer made it in fairly, or do you think it was too early for him? Again, leave a comment and let me know. I am going to go on a quick commercial break before I get to my next topic, which will be on the NFL, because we have some great playoff games coming up. We have the great Super Bowl coming up, and I'm going to give you my outlook of what's going to happen. It's your boy Rags. We'll be right back. All right. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed that little clip. All right. Now, my next topic, of course, is going to have to be on the NFL and the Super Bowl coming up, where we have the Chiefs playing the 49ers. So all those script writers that said, hey, it's going to be the Ravens and the 49ers because of the color scheme, well, they pulled a fast one on you guys. You guys got to understand, you got to keep things quiet. Like, they don't have the ability to change things. Like, rich people can do whatever they want, all right? I'll never put that past them. So I just thought the fact that once people started talking about it, I was like, if it was rigged, it's definitely not rigged anymore, because it's not like they're going to let it go through and let you think they're onto them. But that being said, the matchups definitely intriguing. You got Patrick Mahomes, who at this point is working his way. course, he's on the Hall of Fame highway already, but he's working his way to GOAT status, passing up the great Tom Brady, who has 7 Super Bowls. Now, Mahomes, he has a long way to go when it comes to Super Bowls, but I would say he's definitely on the right pace. Again, this is his 6th year as a starter. He's been to the AFC Championship game every time. All right. Now, this is his 4th time in the Super Bowl. Again, he's won 2 Super Bowls and lost 1 Super Bowl to Tom Brady. I don't see Tom Brady anywhere, so I'm going to take him to win this one, if you ask me. Now, I did have Mahomes beating the Ravens as well, and we just got to talk about Mahomes, and we had to give Mahomes his credit on this show. All right. 1, a lot of questions about, is Mahomes the greatest of all time? Honestly, if you got eyes, you see that he's one of the best quarterbacks that's ever done it. All right, the way that he's willed his team to victories from deficits to, having comfortable leads and ending the game, to having small leads and making the right plays, not turning the ball over. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback that you want in the playoffs. Again, I've said this before. This is not breaking news. Patrick Mahomes is the Michael Jordan of football. He just is. If you ever watched The Quarterback on Netflix, where they followed Patrick Mahomes around, and they had him mic'd up for most of the games, you could just tell by how he talks. He's a super duper competitor. He could win. I'd say he could win 6, 7 Super Bowls, and he'll still be hungry as heck for that next one. Which, hey, I admire a person like that. I admire somebody who's always going to work hard, even when they think they're at the very top of their game. They're putting in 100% extra effort to be even better than they are. That's somebody that I look up to. I like greatness. I don't know why people don't like greatness. Some people rather just hate on Patrick Mahomes, hate to see him win. Literally, people are saying, I just don't want to see Patrick Mahomes win anymore. Literally, those are the words that you're saying. You're literally a hater by definition. Like, the man is great. Like, I want to see him keep doing good. Again, I know we see him as a mixed guy. He's got a white wife, this and that. So he's not really as accepted by the black community as like a Lamar Jackson would be, or a Jalen Hurts. But in my eyes, he's my brother. He's black enough. Whoever he dates, that's on him. That's his life. All right. So I'm not making him any less black because of his choices of his life. Makes 0 sense. So, with that being said, Patrick Mahomes is the Michael Jordan of football. He is poised to be the greatest of all time. I believe he hears the chatter every time. He embraces the underdog. That's all I'm saying. The minute that people were taking the Ravens and saying that he can't win on the road and things like that, I was like, take Mahomes. Because I would never bet against him ever again in my life. I've seen it before. I think I took the Eagles over him in the Super Bowl. Never again will I do that, because again, there's one thing to have talent, right? It's another thing to be a talented leader, a guy that can basically push his teammates to be better than they are. I mean, you look at this man's receiving core. He has one rookie receiver, Rashee Rice, who is his number 1 receiver. And then you got a couple guys who have the cases of the drops. You got Tony, who can't even stay on the field because they're making up injury report or fake injury news for him just to keep him off the field, which is hilarious if you ask me. But hey, we're going to do what we got to do to get you away from the damn field. All right, so he was inactive, which was a smart move. It's obviously been working. And then you have Valdez-Scantling, who actually came through at the end of the game with a nice catch. Now, watching it, he did look like, man, that was the funniest way to catch a ball over the head, over your shoulder. But he caught it, so you got to give him credit that he caught it and ended the game that way. So, again, Mahomes, you always question him. Hey, he lost Tyreek Hill. Oh, Travis Kelce isn't the same anymore. Will Patrick Mahomes be able to get to the Super Bowl? Will he be able to win? Or is his window closed? All of these conversations happen during the season just for you to see the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl. Now everybody's excuse is, oh, well, the NFL wants Taylor Swift to be in the Super Bowl and this and that, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, he was in the Super Bowl 3 times before this, so... Taylor Swift just came into the conversation now. Like, I'm mad that I even had to mention Taylor Swift on here. I was trying not to do that. But anyway, I just think it's an amazing story. Now, of course, the question is, are the Chiefs a dynasty if they lose, or do they need to win to be a dynasty? Honestly, I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they're in the middle of a dynasty as we speak. Again, you have your linchpin, you have your core, which is Patrick Mahomes, a.k.a. Michael Jordan. As long as you have that guy, just get the right pieces around him, and you have the best chance to win because he is the best player in the NFL, hands down. You have a great coach, Andy Reid, I've heard a lot of people saying, hey, maybe he's going to retire soon. As long as Patrick Mahomes is there, he ain't retiring. Shoot, I heard a clip from Travis Kelce talking on the podium after the AFC Championship game saying, man, he feels young. He feels like he has another 11 years coming. And people were talking about him retiring. You know why you feel that way? Because Patrick Mahomes is going to be there. That's why. As long as Patrick Mahomes is there, I want to be there because I have a chance to win a Super Bowl. And that's fun. All right, and that's more money in my pocket, and that makes me more relevant. So Andy Reid's going to be along for the ride. Travis Kelce's going to be along for the ride. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go anywhere for a long time. On top of that, they're going to have to retool their offense. But what's so great about this Kansas City Chiefs team and dynasty is they have the best defense that they've had in a while. This is the best Patrick Mahomes defense that they've had. I mean, think about it. They won the AFC Championship game against the Baltimore Ravens, who is a powerhouse. And they only had to score 17 points. Now, I know the Ravens had some self-inflicted wounds. They fumbled on the 1-yard line. There was a lot of taunting penalties, etc. But the defense still had to make the plays, right? They made the play at the one to punch it out. That was big. I've seen a lot of teams just, hey, the guy's close. Let me just lay back, and that's it. He already scored. Nope. But he gave effort from the whistle to the whistle. So he tried to make a punch, and the very last second he got it out. Hey, that's a residue of hard work, so you can't be mad at that. So I'm excited to see what the Chiefs do. I have them as a dynasty already. Of course, winning only extends the dynasty because if you win now and you lose the next one, it gives you a little bit more grace. You can't lose this one and then lose the next one and we call your dynasty. But they are in the midst of one now. Now, when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, they also have a light in stake right now. Brock Purdy wants to get that monkey off his back. Now, again, I got to say this because this one's been irking me a little bit. For a guy who's been drafted last and to lead his team to the Super Bowl, for people to still be questioning him is honestly bizarre. We don't have these same questions for guys who are picked in the first round, right? Zach Wilsons, the Mitchell Trubisky's, all those guys are failures, all right? They had good teams that, well, I wouldn't say Trubisky had a good team, but, Zach Wilson, he had a really good team with weapons, with high draft picks that he could have took to the playoffs and did not do. Now, that's a failure. That's somebody who cannot get the job done. When you look at Brock Purdy, he is the opposite of that. He got the job done. He's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, so he's an upgrade from that. Obviously, he's better than what Trey Lance was doing because you don't trade away your number 3 pick that you traded multiple first-round picks for just for a guy that you think is only going to be there for a year or two. So, obviously, his team believes in him. His coach believes in him. The GM believes in him. All right, I've seen a lot out of Brock Purdy. Now, again, is he Michael Vick, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, flashy, break plays, do all that? No, he's not. He's a regular quarterback, if you ask me, in the right system. But why is that such a bad thing? He's the perfect player for that team. There's been plenty of quarterbacks that have tried to do what he's done, and they haven't done it. Now, would it be nice for him to win the Super Bowl? Absolutely. I'm sure his goal is to win the Super Bowl. It's not like he's going to sit there and say, oh, man, I was picked last, and this is about the best I can do. I don't see that. But I think he needs some more grace. He's overachieving his career right now. He should be very happy where he's at. He was given the opportunity, and he sees the opportunity. A lot of quarterbacks get the opportunity. It's not like backup quarterbacks don't play. A lot of quarterbacks get the opportunity, and they don't take advantage of it. Like I said, now like a Baker Mayfield, he's taken his opportunity. He's taken advantage of it. Now he's probably going to be Tampa Bay starter for the long run, right? So, again, a lot of people are saying Brock Purdy still has things to prove, especially if he loses. I don't think so. I think the guy, he's at a, if this is his ceiling, then that's better than what they projected him as because he was drafted very last. If people really thought he was going to be better than what he is now, he would have been a first-round pick, second-round pick, right? So, I think Brock Purdy is just showing how important team building is in football. You have to have the right team. You have to have the right people in place in order for you to be successful. So you can't knock a man for having a good team around him. That's what the GM's job is. You're supposed to have a really good team and then let the quarterback take you there and be the icing on the cake. So that's all I got for football. Again, let me know how you feel about the Super Bowl matchup coming in the next few weeks. Who do you have winning? Again, I have the Chiefs winning. It's going to be a very close game, but I'm going to take the Patrick Mahomes factor and make that my determining factor. I'm not determining off anything else. Just Patrick Mahomes is on the other side. He's playing in the Chiefs uniform. I'm taking the Chiefs. All right. So when I get back, I'm going to take a quick break. But when I do get back, I'll talk a little bit about basketball's All-Star break. There was the All-Star team that was announced. We're going to look at the All-Star starters and talk about who I believe was snubbed from the All-Star starting list. All right. It's your boy Rags on DD30. We will be right back. For sticking with me and enjoying that nice little clip I got for you right there. All right, so of course, last topic of the day is going to be centered around basketball, and this is an actual fun topic for you guys to get involved with because there's no complete right answer. But the NBA All-Star starters has been announced on the West and the East. All right, I'm going to put the results here just to have a nice little visual. And with that being said, there is definitely a lot to talk about when you look at the starters. I do see here you have Dame Lillard, you have Tyrese Halliburton as the guards on the East. You also have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who received the most votes on the East. You also have Joel Embiid as the center, rightfully so. He should definitely be on the team. And I am missing somebody else. So Jason Tatum. And that's our East. And then on the West, you have LeBron James leading the votes as the wing. And then you also have Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being the two guards. And then you also have KD as well and Jokic playing center, which is great. Now, again, when it comes to these all-star voting, I mean, you can't be too mad at it. These are fan votes. I mean, the fans are the paying customers. I understand that the NBA wants basically the fans to have the say of who they want to see because when the game comes on, they're going to want to watch it, right? Makes sense. Now, that being said, there are some guys I wish that NBA fans, if you are an NBA fan and you're voting, I wish you guys would just pay a little bit more attention. And even if it's not watching every game, it's at least paying attention to the numbers because the numbers show the results of the game. And as I look at the NBA East All-Star team and the starters, Damian Lillard making the All-Star team over Jalen Brunson is the only stub I really see. And that's the only one I'm going to talk about right now because, again, me, and like I said, if you guys have opinions, don't just say, oh, this guy deserves to be in it. You have to take a guy out if you're going to put a guy in, right? So I can't just say, oh, well, Siakam deserves to be in there on the East, but I'm not going to take Giannis out. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, or, oh, Jaylen Brown needs to be in there, but Jason Tatum doesn't. Like, that doesn't make sense. I'm telling you that Brunson deserves to be a starter over Damian Lillard. This is why. Now, Damian Lillard, he wins when it comes to star power. He's been in All-Star games. He's been an All-Star starter. He has a brand recognition. We all understand that, all right? So I'm not mad that Damian Lillard's on the team. He deserves to be on the team. But when it comes to promoting the best players of the game, I feel like the All-Star starters is like a privilege for that. It basically shows your A team, right? You're basically your first half all NBA team, right? For the East. I think Jalen Brunson deserves a little bit more credit for what he's doing with the New York Knicks. Now, again, when you think about the Knicks, you usually think of a 500 team, a team that's not doing that well. They're going to go one and done in the playoffs. This Knicks team is a very serious contender, especially in the East. All right. So that's one thing. So to not have the best player on basically a powerhouse team in the East, It's a little bit disrespectful, I would say, because, of course, they have one of the better records in the league. I would take, honestly, if the series started right now, I would take the Knicks over the Milwaukee Bucks 100%. So I think they missed the boat not having a New York Knicks represent that team, especially Jalen Brunson and the things that he's been doing on the court. I actually had a chance to be in Madison Square Garden around Thanksgiving when I was in New York in 2023, and they were playing the Heat, and I was in the stadium. Or I'm sorry, I was in I was there. And basically, that team seemed like they were going to lose by like 20. Like the game was almost over. Like basically, the mood, like the fans felt like it was over. Everything, right? Jalen Brunson, I watched with my two eyes. Jalen Brunson literally possession after possession put up shots for his team, and not only come back but lead his team to a victory in an amazing fashion in his home city. He also said at the end of that game, I remember he said, man, a fan looked at me and said, this is embarrassing. And it just made me turn up even more. Right. So, Jalen Brunson, he's obviously the leader of that team. Julius Randle is not the best player of that team anymore. It is Jalen Brunson, without a doubt. He's averaging close to 30 points a game. You could just tell his basketball IQ is there. He's been pushed by his family, by his dad. We've all seen his famous clips with his dad's working out. I appreciate things like that because you got to understand it takes hard work to make it to the NBA. A lot of guys like to frown on that, like, oh man, he's not that. But at the end of the day, you're watching his son in the NBA. So what he did was absolutely right, and it was absolutely necessary. Because some people don't just wake up and they're 6'10" and they can jump and they can run full speed at 4 flat, whatever. Some guys like Jalen Brunson, when you look at him, he's not the biggest guy, he's not the strongest guy, he's not the fastest guy, but he plays basketball, right? He has an amazing handle. He could get to his spot. He knows how to get to his spot and make his shots. He knows where he's comfortable at. So that comes from a guy who plays a lot of basketball, and you could just tell that's Jalen Brunson's game. He's not going to try to out-physical you. He's not going to try to out-athleticism you. He's going to try to outthink you, and he's going to get to his spot, and he's going to make the right play. So Jalen Brunson, hopefully, well, of course he's going to make the team, but hopefully they give him a little bit more of a look moving forward. And maybe this is my cry to basketball fans to maybe appreciate the other teams or the other stars of the team, because honestly, when you look at the numbers alone, Jalen Brunson deserves to be a starter. But on top of that, the way he's taken a New York Knicks team that's been irrelevant for years and making them a top 3 seed in the NBA East or in the Eastern Conference. You have to get credit for that. You have to get credit for that. And honestly, when you look at Damian Lillard, yes, he's putting up pretty good numbers as well, but his defense has been very porous. The Bucks just fired their coach. They're not doing the best that they can. Again, like I said, Damian Lillard deserves to be on the team, but maybe not a starter over Jalen Brunson. So that's just my only thing. And when it comes to stubs, I start like I said again, people are saying, well, Steph Curry was snubbed on the West side, right? And I don't see it that way. I mean, you can't take Luka off. Luka dropped 73. Luka's team is winning. On top of that, Luka is one of the best players in the league. He's up there in the MVP conversation. And then you can't take Shai out as well because he's a part of the MVP conversation. His team is one of the top teams in the West, if not the top team in the West. So, again, you have to give him credit for that. I think they got the West starters right. When you look at it, maybe you could argue KD, maybe AD should have made it over KD, etc. But, again, KD has the star power. I give him the nod. When it's a tie, so that's cool. You can't be mad at that. But Steph Curry not starting in the All-Star game is definitely different, but I think the 2 guards that they have over him definitely deserve it. Steph Curry will be there. He's also going to be a part of the 3-point contest, which news just came out that some WNBA players will also be participating in the 3-point contest, which I think is going to be fun. Sabrina Ionescu, she's one of the sharpshooters of the WNBA. So to see that against Steph Curry, of course, fans are going to love to watch it, love to see it. Again, I just hope they just let the guys shoot from the NBA line, let the girls shoot from the WNBA logo. You don't have to make it overcomplicated, right? The females, they have their 3-point line. That's where they practice from. The men have their 3-point line. That's where they practice from. So it'd be a super unfair advantage to have her shooting threes that are deeper than what she's used to, right? So get it right. Make sure they both have different lines. I'm excited to see that, actually. That's got more excitement than the dunk contest right now. And we know the NBA dunk contest needs a lot of revamping to get fans back interested. But with that being said, the All-Star team is locked in. Next time, we are going to talk about some of the All-Star roster in a whole to see who's missed out. We'll get that out when more information is available. But I am going to end the show here because it was a great show and a great topic. And again, I want you guys to make sure you're involved by adding what you think about NBA All-Star Game as well. Is it the right players? How do you think about the 3-point contest, etc.? Should Steph Curry have made it over any of those two guards that I mentioned? Again, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube right here. Make sure you're also following me on my Facebook. That's the DaDirty Network, DADIRTY Network. You can also find that on IG, and you can also find my Twitch page. You can also find my TikTok. I have everything connected, so make sure you find me on everything, all right, because I'm trying to be your news source, and I'm trying to be your network, all right? So thanks again for watching. It's been another great episode of DD30, the Sports Talk Show, and we will see you next time. It's your boy Rags, and I'm out.
You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.